Let's. There we go. Looks like we are live. What's going on, people? I need some more light. Hold up. There we go. Now I look like a real boy, right? What's going on, folks? I am redoing some new things. So technically, this is my first YouTube version of the Profan podcast. Now, don't get it confused because I still have Profan Talk every Thursday, 7 p.m. on the mothership A2D radio. But lately, I found myself talking to more and more people online. Shout out to the Twitterverse or the Xverse or whatever you want to call it. But I've been following some really good people on Twitter, and when I say good people, I'm talking about the people that you want to engage with. You know what I'm saying? The people you want to talk and they talk back. That's what that means. Let me make myself a little bit bigger. I might switch this a little bit later on, but so let's go right there. I'm gonna lock me in, and then we're gonna close this. So we're doing some different things. I got to work on getting the intro. I'm a rookie when it comes to streaming, so like all this stuff is new to me. I'm not unfamiliar with it, but doing it like this is a little bit different. And you can see like stuff is moving around, and I'm like, nah, I don't want that. So it's just a little different. I'm getting used to it, so it's all good. It's definitely all good. So, but we got roster moves and a lot of stuff was going on. But one of the main things I wanted to talk about was it is game week. So basically, what that means is this is the first week we're playing some people in another color jersey, right? So you've got you got all of the new guys on the team, all of the rooks. You got them. You want them to get acclimated to your schedule, your game week schedule, right? Normally you play on Sunday. Monday you come in for a workout, watch films. Tuesday is the NFL's day off. Wednesday you're back at it. And then some teams finagle that a little bit, depending on if you plan on Thursday or travel, things of that nature. But for the most part, Tuesday is the NFL's day off. Wednesday, you're back at it. A lot of times, Wednesday is a light workout, more mental stuff. You work out, you kind of watch film on what just happened, and then you kind of move on and transition to who your opponent is in the second half of that game film or that film session on Monday. So, and then Wednesday, you pick it up. Some people will come in on Tuesday. They won't have a practice, but obviously the facility is going to be open. You go in, get your workout in, and a lot of people will go in and watch film all day. A lot of times, these facilities, especially now, they didn't have this back when I played, but now Jeffrey Lurie's got some money. I didn't play for Jeffrey Lurie. I played for Norman Brayman, and he was, as far as running the organization, he ran it like a business, not like he was a fan of football. Let me say it like that. So, but now you can go in on your off day. You can get something to eat and have good food, have some snacks, go in the movie room, watch a movie, or watch film. You know, if you want to spend your time at the stadium or at the NovaCare complex, in most places you can do that. Some places, listen to the stories about Chad Johnson. He didn't want to leave. He had a pull-out couch, brought in some blankets, and had most of his clothes and stuff in his locker. And he stayed. He spent most of his time at the stadium, and didn't even have an apartment. Or if he did, he had like a cheap one because he spent most of his time at the stadium and saved his money on rent. So if he wanted to go out and have fun, he got a hotel room or whatever. So, you know, it is what it is. Everybody do different things, but it's game week though. So the schedule changes. They getting used to that. We're going against Baltimore, and we should be having mixed practices with them. And his this is the thing with the mixed practices. This is the stuff that you want to see, right? Um, you want to see now. I think I mentioned this the other day that you can really get a sense of what's going on, who's doing what. Um, when you go up against people, an opponent. So if you don't have a mixed practice, you got guys from Baltimore. Those guys are trying to make the squad too. They don't know nothing about us. We don't know nothing about them. We don't know who's had the great camp. We don't know who's been making plays. We don't know none of that. All we know is that's Baltimore. Their colors are different than our colors. And that's the way you want it. Now you can get, now we'll be able to see if Jalen Carter is beating those one on ones and what it really means. Because now we'll see him going against somebody that don't know nothing about him. And we'll see what our offensive line can do. We'll see what Jordan Davis can do and one on, because they're gonna do the same thing, 1-on-1, 7-on-7, and 11-on-11 team drills. And then the 11-on-11 transitions to red zone. They'll have a team session and then they'll have a red zone session. So that's when you can see what's what, because now you're going up against another defense. That defense doesn't know what you're going to run, and vice versa. So you get a fresh look, and now football instincts kick in, stuff like that. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Um, so I'm excited. I'm ready to get it started. I'm not going to be on the mic too long, but I did just want to get into that. We had some roster moves today. Devin Allen activated from the non-football injury list. It's about damn time. I'm interested to see what he's gonna do. You know what I mean? He's gotten a lot of hype, rightfully so, being the track star. He got gypped out of the World Championship last year, in my opinion. But you know, water under the bridge now. Um, so I want to see what he can do. He's eligible to practice. Spent all last year on the practice squad, and you already know he's fast. You saw what he did last year in the preseason. He had the one play, and that's enough to figure out like, hey, this kid's got a little talent, and this might be somebody we need to watch. So, what's up, Cody K? I see you in there. I see you in there. Let me see. Let me see if I can type you back through OBS. I'm doing all this through OBS. I'm not using StreamYard or anything else. So this is new to me. Again, Robert M, what up? I appreciate you joining me, man. I might next time I might try to do a simulcast where I'm streaming on YouTube and doing the thing on like the virtual group on Twitter. Let me see if I can do that behind you. Hold on. This might get a little weird. So hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I don't know. I might be doing too much. Yeah, I think I'm doing too much. I'm gonna hold off. Yeah, I'm doing too much. I ain't even gonna mess around with it. But it's fun. Well, maybe that'll be in the future. Well, I'll do the Twitter conference call or whatever they call it, the listening. Because I tell you what, um, that's I like that. You can get engaged with some real good people, and for the most part, most people know what they're talking about. However, comma, you can kind of get into that fandom, and people can go to the nth degree, and that's cool because that's what they're supposed to do as fans. And I ain't mad at that. But sometimes you want to have a conversation, and it doesn't always go that way. So, but it's cool. I don't mind it. I'm gonna move this over, and I'm gonna move this over, and I'm gonna move this over so I can chat a little bit more. Hopefully. So Robert M, I did say what's up to you, I think. But in any case, um, yeah, back to Devin Allen. I want to see what he's gonna do. He's got crazy speed. But the one thing I say about Devin Allen is speed doesn't do anything as a receiver unless you can throttle it down and break, open your hips, and create separation. That's a technique thing, not necessarily a speed thing. So I know he's fast. We saw when he took the top off the defense last year in preseason, caught the long touchdown, and it looked phenomenal. However, can he come out of a break and still get good separation? You know he's got the speed to do it, but is he going to run it in? You can't run deep slants all the time. Can he run a comeback, out, in, curl, all that kind of stuff? And then recognizing the zones and defense packages that you're in and knowing when and where to settle down in the middle of the field, different things like that that make you a pro receiver. So we'll see what's going on, man. Let me see. Johnny King. This is interesting. I'm wondering if Sirianni made a call or Steichen made a call to Sirianni with this kid getting let go from Indy. 6'5", 6'5", 209. That's a big boy. But my first question is, can he run? Because if you remember, the Eagles had Mohamed Sanu, roughly the same size. He may have a little bit heavier, but he was like 6'4", 6'5". He was a tall wide receiver. He didn't look like he was very. I'm sure he had speed, but he didn't look like he was very quick. If you've ever seen tall people that run and they have a short stride, but their legs are so long, but they're just not used to striding like they should stride unless you run track or high jump or something like that. But clearly, it didn't look like he did it because he had a short stride. So it was you know, he didn't stick around. They ended up cutting him. So I don't know what this kid's going to do. I don't know anything about him. I know he plays Southeast Missouri. Shout out to the OVC. 36 career starts, 31 starts, Southeast SEMO. And then he went to Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. King rushed 142 receptions, 1,836 yards, and 14 TDs. So that's combined. That's combined. Somebody that big, he should be beasted. When you're that tall, and again, I ain't seen him play, don't know what his speed is like. But a kid like that at that size, throw the ball up in the air and see what happens. That's what we should have did with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, he just wasn't that dude as an outside receiver. But if you put him in specific situations, as big as he was and he could jump and all of that kind of stuff, man, throw that ball and tell him to go up like he dunking with 2 hands. But I don't know what this kid is going to be able to do. We'll see. You ain't going to be able to miss him. 6'5", 209. Good grief. And then we released Trevor Reed and Chim Okafor. That's the one good thing about the Eagles and Jeff Stoutland. He knows his stuff when it comes to offensive linemen. He knows what the deal is. And he knows he can make the right moves. So I am not worried about that. Stout will have those boys ready. That's facts. Let me see what else is going on. What else is going on? Kareem Hunt. Everybody thought Kareem Hunt was going down to New Orleans. And surprise, he didn't sign. And it looks like he might be coming up to the Colts with that whole Jonathan Taylor situation going on. You know, Daniel Snyder was about to take the award for the worst owner in the league. And then Jim Irsay said, hold my beer. Because the stuff that he's doing just makes 0 sense. But it is what it is. So Kareem Hunt's meeting with them. See if they're going to offer him a little bit more money. But the whole issue with Jonathan Taylor is they don't want to pay him no money. They don't want to extend his contract. So if they're not going to do it, if they don't do it for Jonathan Taylor, who has been the model citizen for the Colts. He's been the model citizen for the Colts. And if you won't do it for that type of player, that's not a good look for running backs in the league. It's just not a good look. If you doing everything you're supposed to do, you in the community, you building the brand, and you a good running back. You 3 for 3 for Indianapolis. And you don't even want to extend the contract. Jim Irsay, I don't know what you're doing, dude. But he's not in a really good situation to try to negotiate. He's just hoping because that's what that held some weight back in the day. If you was a good dude, if you was good in the community, if the fans liked you and gravitated, you could parlay that into other stuff and set yourself up for other things after your career was over. So that's what you wanted to do. Get in the community, everybody knows your name. So when you're done playing, you never have to buy dinner in that city again. I don't understand. I mean, I understand it. The rich getting richer, and you know, we're basically the help, and that's a shame because this guy's a good kid. For all intent and purposes, this guy is Jonathan Taylor is a great kid and a great running back. That's the kind of guy you want. So I don't understand why they doing this to him. And it's not just him, and it's a lot of other running backs. And just are we victims of our own success? Because they paid running backs more back when you had bell cow running backs. Now, with the exception of Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, who else would you consider a bell cow running back? Some people would argue that CMC is the best running back in the league, but is he? And he's not even a running back anymore. He's a hybrid because he catches just as many plays as he runs. So the running backs now, it's not about rushes, it's about touches. I don't know. It's a weird situation we're in when it comes to that. So I feel bad for the running backs, man. My people, my position is going extinct. We are going extinct. Everything is a hybrid. You'll be in pass patterns more than you will be lined up behind the quarterback. With the exception of like I said, people like King Henry and people Chubbs and people like that. Austin Eckler, you saw all of the stuff that he had to go through. He finally got his bag though, but man, he had to jump through hoops to get that. And he was worth it. Another guy that was worth it. Good in the community, never had a problem, doesn't get in trouble. What's the problem? And they just don't want to pay running backs. So we'll see what happens. Taylor, Eric Bieniemy. So Bieniemy, when all of that stuff came out about, I think that was Shady that said that stuff that just didn't like Bieniemy, um, and he wasn't getting an opportunity. He had to leave Kansas City to get an opportunity to be a head coach. He still should have had an opportunity, but something was going on that was rubbing people the wrong way. Yes, he should have been a head coach, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Something wasn't jiving up. And for him to be this intense coming out the blocks, and you just the offensive coordinator, you got to be careful, man, or you gonna intensify yourself right out of the league. Now, I'm speaking from experience because I was a part of Camp Coughlin. And if you guys remember, back in the day, Tom Coughlin was a nut. His practices and his two days were notorious for being just crazy hard because he had that old school mentality, and the tide of the NFL was changing because you still had some veteran players who were good veteran players that weren't quite, you're talking about 28, 29, 30 years old, still had some good tread on the tires, And then they get into camp and they just beat the hell out of them in camp. And these guys were like, I don't want to do this no more. I remember I was in camp with Jacksonville and we had Ernest Gibbons. Now, Ernest Gibbons, his best years were with the Houston Oilers, now the Tennessee Titans. His best years was with them. And he came to Jacksonville as part of that, the new franchise and all that kind of stuff. So you got to get some marquee players. So he came over there. They gave him a good contract, and he almost didn't make it through camp. He was like, I'm too old for this. Because we beat each other up. We beat the hell out of each other in camp. I mean, it was crazy. On top of that, you talking about the weather in Jacksonville. First time in my life, all y'all people that might hear this from Florida, y'all know what I'm talking about. First time in my life, I get up, go down to eat breakfast before first practice, and I walk outside, and it is foggy. And I look up, and the sun is out, and the sky is blue. Not a cloud in the sky, beautiful morning, but it's foggy. And it was just a cloud of humidity that just hung over low across the field. It was the weirdest thing. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. It literally looked like, if you guys remember, there's an episode of Scooby-Doo where they did something and they dropped a big block of ice and they created all this steam, and Scooby-Doo cuts a big donut out of the steam and pulls it and starts eating it. That's the visual I use for that, because the steam was so thick, the humidity was so thick, you could taste it. And I was like, oh no, you would, by the time you walked from the locker room to the field to get warmed up, you were already drenching with sweat. You just wringing wet with sweat. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that before. Never. And we beat the hell out of each other. 2 days, full goal, full contact, full pads. Let's get it in. And he was crazy. And I remember coming down there, you trying to make a good impression. So I wasn't with the team, and then I signed with Jacksonville. So I show up in camp. I'm wearing ankle bracelets going into the meeting room. I got on ankle bracelets. And people are looking at me like, yo, yeah, he going to take them off pretty soon. Man, that shit lasted 1 day. It's like, nah. They beat you up down there, man. So it's a different age in what they're going to do. And I'm saying all that to say, these coaches can't go at these players like they used to. That school, that era of the NFL is gone now. You can't do that with social media. And look at all of the stuff. Look at what just happened down in Dallas with Diggs and Dak. With the whole shut your bitch ass up. That kind of stuff happens all the time in camp. You just never saw it. And back then, the fights, and there was a fight almost every day in camp. They used to go at it up at Westchester. But everything was in-house. If you wasn't at practice, you never saw it. Maybe they might put a blurb like that in the Inquirer back in the day. Because every year, there's some guy that comes in that thinks they got to start a fight every day in practice to get noticed. And that will usually be the ones that get cut. Because you start too many fights, you stop getting work done. And coaches hate that. So what do? They get rid of the problem. So you fight too much, you get promoted to fan. But we used to bang. And they don't want to do that no more. And you can't talk to these players any your kind of way because something will pop up on social media. You'll say the wrong thing. Whether or not it's taken out of context. Nowadays, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. It's a different era, and these coaches have to evolve. I don't know. This is all determined on what Washington does this year. Ain't no guarantees for them. And if they come out slow, sluggish, and get drug in the NFC East, I would imagine Eric Bieniemy ain't gonna be back. because they got new ownership. Magic Johnson and the guy from the Sixers done bought this team. You know they already looking to change the name again. They just got the new unis. Are they going to change that too? I don't know. But they got all of this stuff going on, and everything is in flux. So if Eric Bieniemy is a little bit too much, he's either going to throttle it down or he's not going to have another job. He'll be a career coordinator when clearly he should be a head coach. Clearly, he's got that type of gravitas. He's got that type of experience. Um, but you can't have an old school mentality with today's NFL. Our era is gone. Hard nosed coaches, Jimmy Johnson, Parcells type coaches, um, doesn't work this doesn't work in the league no more. Doesn't work in the league no more. So I don't know how long he's gonna wear out his welcome being so aggressive and being so intense. You got to ease it up at some point in time, or you're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose the locker room. People don't want to deal with you. People don't want to deal with you. So, and again, now if he's this and they're winning, ain't really much people can say. Not really much people can say. So, you know, it is what it is. So, do we have anything on our linebackers? Let me see. Training camp. Did they mention the linebackers any? Miles Jack. Miles Jack. Uh, he was a captain in Jacksonville, and his first 4 years in Jacks, he balled. He balled out. Cunningham is pretty good, but he was on injured reserve last year, so I'm not sure what we're going to get out of him. But Miles Jack can ball, and I didn't realize until I saw this clip today. I saw the clips of Miles Jack as a tailback at UCLA, and he has skills. He had moves, he had explosive speed, and he could run away from people. He was a tailback at UCLA. Now he's a linebacker. So you can know he can move around. He can move his hips and move his feet, get through a hole, and get to the ball carrier. So I say that's a good pickup. And I heard what Big Seal said. You know, Big Seals from Jacob Media was talking about it's an indictment on Howie with the linebackers. I'm like, pump your brakes, bro. We got to see what happens with it. Now, granted, I need N'Kobe Dean to get on the field. He can't be hurt already, because that's one moniker you don't want to wear. Is that you're already injured or always injured. So he's got to come correct. Having said that, you don't want to get him out there and do nothing stupid before the season even starts, because N'Kobe Dean's gonna play. Period. So it might be Miles Jack and Christian Ellis, or I don't know. However they decided. But you're going to get a good dose of Miles Jack. You're going to get a good dose of Christian Ellis. You're going to get a good dose of Moreau. Because he really hasn't done anything in camp. So I'm hoping that it's nothing, that the situation with his ankle, if he's got a high ankle sprain though, I've had that before. It sucks. Because the only thing, there's nothing you can do to really rehab it besides ice and water. Maybe you get on the muscle stem. But it's going to stop hurting when it stops hurting. And what's the worst thing you can do when you got an ankle sprain? It's change directions. And what's the one thing you got to do at linebacker? Change directions. So he's in a bad spot. So I'm hoping they're just resting him. Ain't no rush. The same way they've been doing with Hassan Reddick. The same thing that they've been doing with Bradbury. There's no rush. There's no rush. So take your time and figure out what the next move is. So Deion Kane. Charleston Rambo got cut the other day. So that's my XFL guy. He's gone. Deion Kane, that's my USFL guy. He's got an ankle injury, so I don't even know if he's going to play this week. So I want to see him play because y'all remember he should have made the squad last year. So, a little bit more talk. Christian Ellis, newly signed. So I don't know what they. I guess they're not. Ellis is my dark horse. I think Ellis is gonna ball, but if they're gonna immediately stick Miles Jack in there wearing 47, I think they're just mixing them up because they don't know what they're gonna do yet, and preseason is gonna be um, important. So we'll see. Like I said, Ellis is my dark horse. That's somebody that I don't think people are talking enough about. He can ball. He's got that Polynesian crazy streak. The man can get to the ball. He just needs his opportunity. The same way TJ Edwards did last year. Nobody know what we had. We needed to, everybody was on Howie to do an upgrade because TJ Edwards just wasn't it. So, all right, let me hold on for a second. I'm gonna switch up. Are we lost tonight? Philly's lost? Oh, come on, son. All right, hold on. See if we can Windows capture. I'm gonna turn that off. And hold on, doing all this real time. Get my background back. Background replacement. There we go. And turn off that lock. And we'll lock you in the corner. And move you over here. And I am much, much bigger. But I'm out of focus. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. There we go. Got a couple people on tonight. A couple people still listening. Gene, what's up? Did you just hop in? Gene, I didn't see you. Let me see. This thing is. Yeah, I don't know what this thing is doing. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not digging this. But what's up, Gene? I appreciate you, man. Coming in and we trying to do some things different. Um, Now let's talk a little bit about this online space that we're dealing with right now. So I've been seeing some stuff. Uh, we are in. When I say we, I am specifically talking about content creators. I do not like this thing, man. This is not good. Can we stick that in here? Sorry about that. And then you can't. There we go. Well, see you in there. Whatever. I'm specifically talking about content creators and the way with everything that just happened with ESPN, the landscape is changing because everybody on ESPN is coming to YouTube. You saw, or maybe you didn't. Marcellus Wiley used to be heavy on ESPN. He left, started his own podcast. That joker got to 100,000 subscribers in less than 5 months. That's crazy. So his ascension is going to continue because he's got the momentum. Now, sometimes I can listen to him. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes it seems like you already know he's a brainiac going to Columbia, so you know he's a smart dude. But sometimes I don't know. I don't know if it sounds like an insult, but sometimes it's like he's trying to sound too smart, and it's hard to listen to. I don't know if it's on purpose or that's just the way he speaks. But sometimes I can really get into his conversations, and other times, not so much. But the good thing about it is, and I'm not one of these people to try to rag on somebody, but at the end of the day, listen to somebody. If you like their content, listen to their content. If you don't, the greatest invention known to man is the on-off switch. Use it. And you got people that get so thin-skinned, and the way a lot of these fans are acting now, You got Eagles and Cowboys fans. I saw the guy at the game, the Cowboys fan with the blanket, and then the Giants fan and all that kind of stuff, and everybody getting butthurt. And I've been in a couple rooms, like those listening rooms on Twitter, and sometimes the conversation gets so out of hand, and it's like, dude, we just talking football. Because the same thing that we saying about Cowboys fans and Giants fans and Redskins or Commanders fans, and the same thing we say about them, they say about us. So it's equal ground, both ways, and ain't nobody wrong because that's what fandom is. You gonna cherry pick and have selective amnesia about your team. That's part of the battlefield. That's the nature of the beast. As far as fandom goes, here's the difference. The minute you enter this space, the minute you jump on my stream, and you want to listen to me, I need to know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't care what sport it is. I don't care if I switch. I don't always do, Eagles 24/7. It's ramped up now because football season is about to start. But I've talked about F1. I've talked about golf. I've talked about basketball, baseball, hockey, everything. And not just in Philadelphia. But whatever it is you're going to talk about, you got to know what the hell you talk about. Because me and Barry Brooks talked about this weeks ago. The amount of people out there, content creators and traditional media heads, people that are still on ESPN and stuff like that, Cowherd, Sims, people like that. A lot of those people on TV do not watch film at all. They get the highlights, and most of their conversation is based on those highlights. And you can tell just by some of the way they're looking. And people have gotten the big argument the last couple months or so has been like Stephen A. Smith and Dan Le Batard. They've been going back and forth with each other, and they're supposed to be friends. And what's the guy from the Jets? Is it Bart Scott? That's always coming up with some off the wall take or something like that. It's like, dude, where are you getting this from? Where are you getting it from? But that's how the medium is changing because now everybody wants to be like Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is pretty much number one in this landscape. You got Joe Rogan, you got Pat McAfee, and then you got Stephen A. Smith coming in. Shannon Sharp is up there with Club Shay Shay. The Kelsey brothers are up there with the New Heights podcast. Then you got the Bussin' with the Boys. Then you got Ryan Clark, the Pivot. Then you got Brandon Marshall's podcast. So there's some big ones up there, and they're making noise, but they know what they're talking about. But the landscape is changing because those media heads, we're pretty much on equal ground when it comes to content. Now, the eyes on you, that's the grind. Shout out to King DV. He got up to 1,000 subscribers because he was live streaming at the Eagles practice. And he seemed to have the best stream that was going. So he went with it. Point of note, I will be on with King DV tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. So make sure you check us out for that. So that should be fun. I've been trying to hook up with him for a while. He's a good dude. He's on his grind just like I'm on my grind. And there's enough room for everybody to eat. But at the end of the day, you still got to know what you're talking about. So, but the landscape is changing because Colin Cowherd, Chris Sims, and all of those kind of people, they get their information. Maybe they got connects because they're working at the network and all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the way the news cycle is, you can pull something from TMZ and you can post it on Facebook or Twitter before the networks get it. I remember back in the day when people didn't know what Twitter was and they said it was for kids, this, that, and the other. And then I don't know if they did it first, but I remember the first time I saw CNN News and they had a Twitter crawl live on screen. And that changed the game because then when the CNN did it, everybody else started doing it. ESPN did it. It just caught on because everybody's on their phones. And that's where you get the information. Adam Schefter, now he's tweeting breaking news before he reports it. They'll say Adam Schefter just tweeted, then they'll get him on TV for a live report. They read the tweets first. So our landscape has changed. So now, me as a former Eagle, who knows a little bit about football, but for the most part, if you're not a down 10 toes deep type Eagles fan, most of y'all wouldn't know who I am. You see my pictures in the background, and you can figure out, okay, I used to play for the Birds, but for the most part, most people don't know who I am. I got to build my legacy and my online presence the hard way. I got to grind. I got to meet people and like, hey, get involved in these conversations, so people will know who I am and know I know what I'm talking about. And listen, I'm not the smartest person in the room, so you know what I do? I find people that are smarter than me. I'll talk to Baldy. I'll talk to G Cobb. I'll talk to Barrett Brooks. I'll talk to Willie T on Thursday. Yeah, so check that out. Willie T. Me and Willie T on Pro Fan Talk on A2D Radio Thursday, 7 p.m. Be there. But I'll talk to those guys. You always talk to somebody that knows more than me, because I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. If you are the smartest guy in the room, find a new room. But all these guys on TV, they're trying to play catch up. ESPN screwed up because they had digital content and they didn't support it. And they were trying to make up for lost ground because wasn't nobody subscribing to ESPN Plus. And they was putting money down the drain. And then here comes Pat McAfee to save the day. And they paying him $85 million. How much were they losing if they willing to pay a YouTube guy $85 million? And they just licenses his stuff. Pat McAfee still owns his show, so he's still getting paid off of his YouTube stuff, plus what ESPN is giving him. So he getting mad money. But ESPN is trying to play catch up because everything's about subscriptions and everything. But now, once again, me, former Eagles player, trying to make his presence known in the online content world, all I got to do is get one big story and have somebody mention me, or have Joe Rogan mention me, or Mr. Beast mention me, or whatever the situation turns out to be, however that manifests itself, and it's going to happen. And I got to hang around until that happens. But in the meantime, you got to keep up your grind. Like I said, it's enough room for everybody to eat, but you got to be willing to get in the kitchen and cook, man. Our landscape has changed. So you can't be thin-skinned, and you can't get... I jumped on... I was in this one room. Yesterday morning. Now, mind y'all, I bleed green because I played for the Eagles. But I was born in the jungle. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I am a Cincinnati Reds fan because I grew up with the Big Red Machine. Tom Seaver, Ken Griffey Sr., Tony Perez, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench. I grew up watching those guys play. Big Red Machine when they went back to back. Sparky Anderson. That's where I grew up. Bengals, Ickey Woods, Kenny Anderson, Boomer Esiason a little bit later. That's what I grew up with. So I'm a Bengals fan. But I still bleed green. But in any case, I'll go into this room and it's Bengals fans. And somehow the conversation switched to Jalen. They found out there was a couple Eagles fans in there. They didn't like that. Then they started ragging on Jalen Hurts. And then somehow the narrative got shifted that Jalen Hurts is trash because we've got a good complement of elite players around him. That's why he's so good. And I'm like, is that a bad thing now? So, because everybody wants to compare, well, Joe Burrow is better than Jalen Hurts. You could say that. I could argue different. That's what I talk about when I fandom. If you want to go facts, let's go facts. And then it either is or it isn't. But if you want to do fandom, just stay with the fans because it's never going to be even. 41-33, you were there. Smitty, is that Smitty? You were there. Yeah, was in that conversation. But it's like, when did the narrative shift that because you're a quarterback and you got good players, that's a negative on you? You gotta have all shit players around you, and you gotta be all world to be considered a good quarterback. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's ridiculous. You look at Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. Everybody has an answer. Everybody, you got to have a some type of tandem to be able to proceed. There's a few times where that hasn't happened. You look at the '85 Bears, because that defense was just ridiculous, and then you've got um, Baltimore with Ray Lewis and that defense and Ed Reed. Their offense was average at best, but you couldn't do anything with that defense. Cody, dude, I'm with you, man. It's a weird thing, and it goes back to people that want to disrespect um, the Eagles. If you don't like the Eagles, I mean, I get it. You gonna find a reason why not to like Jalen Hurts, because quiet as kept, here in Philadelphia, we were the same way. We did not want Jalen Hurts when he got drafted. We were looking at, people wanted Howie Roseman fired, all of that kind of stuff. You can go back and look at the receipts, but you got to let the process go through. And I was telling somebody today, like, as much as we go back and forth with the Cowboy fans, like, I don't like the Cowboys, but I don't hate Dak Prescott. The reason why I don't hate Dak Prescott is because I remember what it was like watching him, seeing a black quarterback come out of college who was good. Dallas did not want him to be the starting quarterback. They did not want that. And then his rookie year, he balled out. So they had to do what they had to do. So it was it's just weird how the narrative has changed, and people get thin skinned, and they want to give you every reason why your guy is not any good and their guy is. It's like, we ain't got to go into all of that. And this is where I have to separate myself from fans and being a player, because my perspective is totally different. Totally different. My perspective is, Smitty, we talked about this. I don't. When you ask me what are the Eagles going to look like, I don't know. I'll tell you when we reach week 3 or week 4, because that way I will have film on them. I will be able to watch them play. I'll know what Sean Desai will do. I'll know what Brian Johnson will do, and then I can give you probably a legitimate answer. Normally, I reserve those type of questions until like week 4, and then once you've seen what you need to see, then you can come up with an answer. Smitty, you in 2 spots, dude. You gets around, but I appreciate you, bro. And we'll definitely hook up, man. We'll definitely hook up. But it's you got to let your people do what they got to do. That's why I mentioned earlier, Big Seals jumps on the bandwagon about the linebackers. I'm like, you don't know what these linebackers are going to do. That's why I keep reiterating this fact. Let's just get through preseason. That's it. Let's get through preseason. Because the last thing you want is to get to the regular season, you got too many of your starters dinged up. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But in any case, we gotta get through preseason. Let's get through this game. Now we can be able to see what's what. We're probably only gonna be able to get maybe a quarter from starters. If there's any starters that are gonna play, we might get a quarter out of them. Everybody else is gonna play after that. It's gonna be the 2s and the 3s after that. Oh, okay, 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 okay. So you'll be on the show with DV tomorrow. Cool. I'm in, man. I'm in. I'm there. So should be fun. But you got about we gonna get a quarter about the starters maybe, and then we'll see. I want to see what our special teams is gonna look like. That's the one thing we haven't talked about enough. Our special teams was not good last year. It was god awful. It was god awful. I don't understand why they signed that coach back, Michael Clay, but he's got the job. Water under the bridge. Can't do nothing about it now. Going forward, only thing I can say is I hope he does a much better job this year than he did last year. It's the only thing you can say. It cost us in the biggest moment, and that sucks. Run defense and the way our special teams was just it was brutal. It was brutal. I thought they were going to fire Clay, but um, I mean I don't know why. This is the thing that kind of scares me about Sirianni. Now I don't know if it'll remain like this, but I don't want Sirianni to be so loyal to his people that he can't make the logical decision. Because there are some people that are like that. They're so loyal to my guys that someone is clearly better and you won't pull the trigger because you're too loyal blindly. And that's a problem. Now, again, last year's last year. It sucked last year. It's a brand new year. You got to wipe the slate clean, and we're going forward. So, having said that, when you see Michael Clay, when you see Quez Watkins, uh, Quez Watkins is an excellent example. Quez Watkins has been lighting it up in camp, and there's a lot of people that wanted him gone. I didn't necessarily want him gone, although I thought Deion Kane should have made the team last year and not Quez Watkins, or at least Deion Kane should have been our wide receiver number 3, and Quez Watkins should have been a backup, based on the way that Deion Kane played last year in preseason. What's up, Mayor? You late. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate you dropping in, man. We're trying to build things, man. Next time it'll be more because I'm trying to, like I said, this is my first pro fan podcast. I started this podcast, I don't know, this was like 3 years before COVID hit, but I was doing audio only. I didn't do the video thing, and mind you, I'm a graphic design video editor person. That's what I do for my job. So I know this medium, but at the time I didn't want to. I didn't want to do YouTube because I thought I would have to edit. I don't think StreamYard was around back then, so it was a little bit different landscape. So I did like the traditional Apple Podcast, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. But man, I can kick myself because if I'd have been doing this on YouTube 5 6 years ago, then you kind of think about how far you would have gone. But just water under the bridge. We here now. There's a reason for everything. Wasn't my season. God told me to go here, so I'm going here. Now's my time. So we're gonna do what we got to do. So, but yeah, man. As far as us as being content creators, what I was talking about was the playing field is leveled off. Yes, Cowherd and Sims and people like that, they get the eyes on them. It just takes us a little bit longer to build up that momentum. But we get the same type of information. And in a lot of cases, we get the information before they do. So we'll see what's going to happen. Looking forward to next week. Um, we play Baltimore on Saturday. Then the following Thursday is our Eagles alumni game. And I will be at the game. I will be they're going to, announce all of the alumni in the buildings. There'll be a bunch of us there. It's always a good time. Get on the field, meet with your boys, teammates. Once you teammates, you teammates. You ain't seen each other in a couple years, but it's like you never left, and it's just fun being in there chopping it up, just having a good time. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. I know I'm gonna be Once they announce us and we do our thing in the middle of the field, then the game starts. So I don't know if I'm gonna be trying to go place to place, trying to go in the crowd and just film some content, but I'm gonna be doing something. So I'll let you guys know how that's gonna roll out. I don't know if I'm gonna try to stream live because I know that game's gonna be televised. I got to figure out how that works. So yeah, that's the second preseason game. So should be fun. We always have fun though. But again, I got Willie T, my boy Willie T. Willie T is a very good friend of mine. Willie T was the dude when I got to camp in '93 as a rookie. Me and Willie T like immediately bonded because I'm type of kind of like a nerd. I was into games and computers and all that kind of stuff. He was into the same stuff. So me and him kind of bonded on that. The first thing I did when I made the team and got my first check, I spent like $2,000 on a computer. Now, mind you, this is '93, so at that time, $2,000 on a computer is a lot now. So back in '93, that was ridiculous. But we bought this game, the computer. Me and him used to play this game, um, this football game that we had, and he used to always beat me and laugh because I was running all the Eagles plays, and he was killing me with it. It was just funny. Me and him used to play golf all the time, so he was the best man at my wedding. So T is a very good friend of mine. So he'll be on Pro Fan Talk on Thursday night on A2D Radio. So check that out. So looking forward to that. And I am trying to, I am efforting to get some people next week. I don't want to put it out there yet. I don't want to put the names out there because I don't want to jinx myself. So we'll see what's going to happen. But it's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. The season is here. We're in preseason now. No more OTAs, no more training camp. This is now we in rhythm. Game week, schedule changes. Get ready. You get acclimated to what it's going to be like game week, practice, watching film, all of that kind of stuff. Now it changes a little bit. So now we're going to be able to see what's what. So looking forward to this stuff, man. Looking forward to this stuff. So I'm going to get out of here. I've been on for about an hour. So that's long enough, running my mouth. So I appreciate y'all joining me, man. I appreciate that. We're going to do this more. I might try to do. Is this a good time? And I'm just asking this at random. Because normally I don't go Tuesday at 10. But if this is a good time, I'm trying to find my space. So for right now, I'm going to stick with Tuesday at 10 p.m. I'm going to do Pro Fan Podcast. And then Thursday at 7 p.m., you got Pro Fan Talk. And if you got anybody that likes to get up early in the morning, Thursday mornings at 7:30 a.m., I'm on a show called Morning Coffee, and I do a sports segment there that broadcasts live at 7:30 in the a.m. So y'all got me on three fronts, and we're gonna keep this thing growing. So. And I will be everybody that's hooked up with me and tap me up on Twitter. I'm gonna hit you back because I'm looking for some new ideas on content. I got a couple ideas, and I'm trying to figure out a way. How can I do some things and get like a lot of people involved? It's a little bit. I got to brainstorm and write some ideas down, but I got some ideas. Like I said, I'm a graphics guy, so the editing thing I'm pretty sure about. So I got some ideas on how I want to proceed. And hey, if I can shout some people out in different groups on different podcasts, I'll do that. I'll do that. So I'm about to get up out of here. If anybody's got any questions, hit me up. I'm still on Twitter. You can hit me up on my Facebook page, my Facebook fan group, which is Pro Fan Talk on Facebook. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter. I'm on Threads, but I don't know what Threads does yet. I'm using it. I don't know if it's working. I don't know. I still do Twitter or X and Facebook. Those are the easiest places to find me. And lately, within the last 2 weeks, the engagement on Twitter has been fire. So let's keep it up. I'll try to jump in them groups and those conversations as much as I can. A lot of times I work from home, so I'm listening, but I can't engage in the conversations. So But I appreciate the love, man. So let's make this a thing. So there, let me put it out in the ethos. Every Tuesday, let's do this. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. This is where I'll be. All right, the Pro Fan Podcast, and don't forget Pro Fan Talk on A2D Radio every Thursday night at 7 p.m. There's enough room. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So I'm gonna get out of here. Maybe I'll have some coffee tonight or make me a snack. I don't know. But we're gonna get back to it tomorrow. King DV. I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m., brother. We're gonna make it happen, have some fun. Um, hey, the NFL is the gift that keeps on giving. And we ramping up. So I appreciate y'all for checking me out. And I will see you guys in the next play.